Hello everybody, welcome to the channel. My name is Terrell, aka King Cypress, and I'm back here with the Flock of Cypress episode 3. And so, today, we're going to be going over the reading list that we started in episode 2. Last time, I was reading Dostoevsky, Demons, and we talked about that book a little bit, but it's been a while, and so I've read many other books, and so we're gonna go through them and get a little insight, and maybe we'll look at some music and whatnot, and I hope you enjoy. Okay, so the first book is Beyond Good and Evil. I actually didn't finish this one because I decided that I was going to read it in the actual book form right here, and I don't. Yeah, maybe one day we'll get to read it, but this book is really hard. It's a philosophical book, and it's very deep, and I'd be surprised if you read it and actually understood it, because who can? Okay, Ordinary Men. Ordinary Men is a book about this police battalion who was in Nazi Germany before the Hitler Revolution. These were just ordinary men, and the government asked them if they would become the people who went through each town and collected all the Jews, killing the children and people who couldn't walk. These men were allowed to leave. They were allowed to not do this. They didn't have to, but there were men who did. Anyways, these weren't like Hitler's youth. They were you and me, and if we don't see that in ourselves, then we're mistaken, because you don't know which position you're gonna take. If you're in Nazi Germany, you don't know if you're going to be the person helping the Jews. Are you? It's a good question to ask yourself. Next one is The Painted Bird. When I read this book, I didn't realize that it was fiction. I thought it was a real account of a child going through hell. Hell on earth. Literally hell on earth, every step of the way. It seems like the author was trying to create the most horrific story possible, in hopes that maybe it would capture a glimmer of what actually happened in Nazi Germany and in the 30s. Next one is The Rape of Nanking. This is a true story based on, let me set the stage. Japan was stuck in the past while the rest of the world had innovated, and Japan still had swords. They were still barbarians almost. And once they saw what the Americans possessed, they immediately became reluctant because they didn't have enough land to support themselves, to grow enough food. And they blamed that on China. And so what they did the next years was gather up all the forces and all the muster that they possibly could so that they could take down the Chinese regime. And they went to this town of Nanking and raped and pillaged the whole town. It's an awful book. Great book, but awful. It's the forgotten Holocaust, and it's really a shame that it's like that. Modern Man in Search of a Soul. Carl Jung is really hard to read, I guess, because not that it's complicated, like you read it and you understand it. It's hard to understand how it stays with you, because we have things we know, and then we have things that we can explain. The things that we know are a lot greater than the amount of things we can explain. Modern Man in Search of a Soul by Carl Jung is a book. In Search of a Soul by Carl Jung is about how we've changed from our archaic past. It really helps you understand how things used to be and how things are today and how it's different. And I think understanding that makes it so you can navigate your way around the world in a fashion that would be similar to the roots, your ancestors. Now I'm reading Maps to Meaning by Jordan Peterson, and this is a good counter book to Modern Man in Search of a Soul, because I think he brings together a lot of ideas that you would have to read multiple books to understand, and he really just takes the best ones of each that, and a little bit of this, a little bit of that. But yeah, I really like that book. I love Jordan Peterson. He's a great writer. But yeah, we have a couple more books to go. In other news, there's been a couple album releases. A few notable ones. Suicide Boys, if you're into that. They came out with another album. It's just another album. All their albums are very similar. If you've heard one, you've heard most of them. They're all about the same thing. And Kanye West came out with another album called Donda. I love this album. He did an excellent job. And this is like the opposite of the first album, because it's Kanye West is now a Christian, and so he doesn't put out secular music anymore, where Suicide Boys are essentially devil worshippers. But yeah, very good albums. You should definitely check those out. It's been a very eventful year. Hopefully our next video comes out a little bit sooner. But make sure you like and subscribe, and I'll see you next time.